Okay, this is going to be a very productive video today because I'm not going to teach you new vocabulary. I'm going to teach you new meanings of words you already know, like pull and fly and eat. These are words you know. I'm going to teach you common alternative meanings to these words. So these are not obscure alternative meanings. These are meanings of words you already know that we use every day in English, in general English, and especially in business English. At the end of the video, I'll give you a quiz and you're going to have to choose the right word and the right meaning to fit in the right word so you can make sure that by the end of the video, you've locked in learning and you can start using these words with their new meanings for you today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa B. Duarte. I'm the author of the Global Business English Mastery Series. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with pull. Of course, you know you go into a building and you either push or you pull. That's fine. This pull is a noun and it's a synonym for influence. So when someone has pull, it means they have influence over an industry, a department, a company, or another person. So perhaps you want to extend your vacation days and your company has very strict policies. Well, why don't you go talk to Jane in HR? She has pull with the CEO, which means she can has a good relationship with the CEO. She has some influence. She has some power there. Or Peter has a lot of pull in his industry, which means Peter's very renowned in his industry. Renowned is a great word. Renowned is combination kind of being famous and respected. That together is renowned. So if someone's quite renowned in their industry, they have influence in their industry. They're influential. So they're influencers, but they're influential in their industry. They have pull. What they say, people will listen to. They can influence people. So to have pull is to have influence. So again, if you're working and you're trying to negotiate something with another company and the negotiations aren't going very well, you can say, you know what? Let's bring in Mike. He has pull in these situations, which means he can really influence the situation. He has an influence in these situations. So it's a really fantastic noun you can use. Pull. Okay, next one is cover. Now, cover has three different meanings, and you're probably aware of. Now, of course, you have a cover for your phone. In case you drop your phone, there's a little protective cover on it. So that's a cover for your phone. But cover can also mean to include. So in this video lesson, we're going to cover 5 main simple words in English that have different meanings. We're going to include it. Or you go for an interview and you can say, this interview will cover this, the last 4 years of my work experience. So to be included. In a presentation, this presentation will include our research from the last product launch and our stats from the last product launch, or we'll include our forecast for next year. So it just means what's included into something. Another meaning for cover would be to do someone's job while they're away. So, for example, I have an important phone call. Can you cover for me? So, you're in a meeting or you're at your work. Maybe you work at your computer in customer support, and you're not allowed to leave your desk at like times that are not the set times. But you have an important phone call to make, and you ask your colleague, can you cover for me? Which just means, can you do my job while I'm gone quickly? Or I'm going on vacation and, Patty will cover for me while I'm gone, which means Patty will do my job while I'm gone. You can contact Patty. This is actually quite common when you send out like an email, an automatic email response. And if you're saying, if you're going on vacation or if you're off on sick leave, and you can say, I'm currently on vacation, but Mike will cover me while I'm gone. Contact Mike. And so you're saying that person will do my job in my absence. And the last meaning for cover here is to pay for something. And that's all it means. And it's a really common, you need to know this meaning. So if, for example, you're interviewing and you'll say, listen, does the company cover costs of my transportation to work? No, we don't cover that. Yes, we do cover that. No, we don't pay for it. Yes, we do pay for it. Or you go out for a client lunch and you say, don't worry, I'll cover this, or my company will cover this. It means we'll pay for this. Or, gosh, you're traveling a lot. How do you afford to travel so much? Oh, my company covers the cost of traveling, covers the cost of my traveling expenses. So to cover something means to simply pay for something. Okay, next up is a little bit tricky because there's two meanings here that are kind of the same. So this is cut. And of course, cut with scissors. Fine. But cut can be reduce or completely cancel. So, and you can usually understand what people mean by context. So, we need to cut our costs this quarter. Just means we need to reduce our costs this quarter. I mean, you can't completely get rid of your costs. You won't run a company. So we want to cut our costs this quarter, which means we're going to completely reduce our costs. Or the company, in order to cut costs, is cutting all Christmas parties and New Year's parties. So that means they're canceling them. So to cut costs, to reduce costs, the company is cutting all New Year's parties, which is all, they're completely canceling all the New Year's parties. So cut can be to reduce or cut to completely cancel. So for example, maybe your company had some great influx of government money supporting research in your industry. But last year, the government cut that funding. So they completely stopped the funding. So you have to make sure from context to know if it means to reduce or to cancel completely. Okay, next one technically is a phrasal verb because fall is always followed by on in the meaning I'm going to teach you. And when you have a verb followed by a preposition in, on, at, with, to, it's usually under the terms of phrasal verb because when those two words come together, they totally change the meaning. But anyways, to fall for something. I mean, fall is fall, right? Oh, I caught it good. So my pen fell, right? Fine, you understand that. But to fall for something, fall for means to be tricked by something. Okay, so HR sends out a mass email to everyone in the company saying this is an anonymous survey about satisfaction at work. And you're going, is it anonymous? I don't want to fall for this. I don't want to be tricked by it. Or someone's in an interview and they asked about a big gap in someone's work experience, saying, you didn't work for 2 years. What's that for? And perhaps their answer was very vague. Vague means there's not a lot of details and it's quite unclear. Saying, I worked on self-development and education, and maybe it wasn't straightforward education or straightforward self-development. And you can say, I got the job. I guess they fell for my response. My response kind of tricked them. So to fall for something means to be tricked by something, to believe what someone says. So a salesman, and he's selling amazing pens that are going to completely change the industry. It can write in any single language. It just, you just say, I don't know, Arabic, and it's going to write in Arabic right away. And people are like, this is amazing. This is the greatest technology. And people buy it and they fell for it. It was a scam. So if you are tricked by something, a scammer, or something that's not true, or something when someone stretches the truth, then that's to fall for. Okay, last one here is strike. Now, strike is synonym for hit, right? So strike. Fine. But strike in business has two other meanings. Well, it has one meaning in business, like uniquely for work, and the other meaning is in general English, but used in business a lot. So the first one here is to strike, or the company went on strike. And this means when employees are not happy with their conditions at their work, they want more money, they want better conditions, they will go on strike or they will strike, which means they stop working until they get what they want, until their demands are met. That is to strike or to go on strike. That's one meaning. The other one is when something suddenly happens or suddenly occurs, or you suddenly think of something. So I could be in a meeting and I could say, it struck me yesterday that we have not spoken at all about client B for the last 3 weeks. What's happening with that contract? So it struck me as if like the idea just hit me. The idea suddenly occurred to me. Or here's the contract. If anything strikes you as strange, please let me know and I'll make the changes. So if anything occurs to you suddenly or kind of hits you, or you suddenly see something as strange, let me know. Or you're interviewing and maybe you work for HR and it's the HR manager and you're the HR assistant, and the candidate comes in, the candidate looks good on paper, everything looks great, great experience, great CV, great education, but the interview, something about him was a little questionable. You didn't totally trust him. You say, you know what, he struck me as a little strange, or he struck me as a little odd, or he struck me as untrustworthy. So that was kind of the feeling that hit me. That was kind of what suddenly occurred to me during that meeting. So strike can mean to suddenly occur or to suddenly think about something. Okay, as promised, here is your quiz. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a sentence and take out the one key word. You have to decide what word completes that sentence to make it logical. So, and as I go through, I'm going to give you a couple hints. I'm going to give you some time and then I'll give you the answer, and I'll have the answer on the next slide in the video here. Okay, let's get started on this one. Okay, the first one is the company had to 20% of its workforce during the recession. The company had to 20% of its workforce during the recession. The company had to reduce 20% of its workforce. To reduce, to cut. The company had to cut 20% of its workforce during the recession. Next one, please for me while I'm on vacation next week. Please for me while I'm on vacation next week. Please do my work for me while I'm on vacation next week. Do my work for me, cover for me. Please cover for me while I'm on vacation next week. Next one, Jim has a lot of in banking, so we were able to get the loan. Jim has a lot of in banking, so we were able to get the loan. Jim has a lot of influence in banking, so we were able to get the loan. What's the synonym for influence? Pull. Jim has a lot of pull in banking, so we were able to get the loan. Next one, workers decided to go on to demand better pay. Workers decided to go on to demand better pay. Workers decided to stop working until their demands were met. Workers decided to go on strike to demand better pay. Next one, the speech really the audience and left a strong impression. The speech really the audience and left a strong impression. The speech really had an impact on the audience, occurred to the audience. The speech really struck the audience and left a strong impact. Insurance will the damages caused by the fire. Insurance will the damages caused by the fire. Insurance will cover the damages caused by the fire, which means insurance will pay for the damages. And last one, careful not to for the same sales tricks again. Careful, that's a warning, not to for the same sales tricks again. Careful not to be tricked by the same sales tricks again. Careful not to fall for the same sales tricks again. Okay, how did you do on the quiz? Hopefully you did pretty well. If you didn't, no big deal. I mean, it takes a while to learn new meanings of words, even if they are not new words for you, but just new meanings. If you had some difficulty, go back in the video. I was going to say back below. It's not a book. Go back in the video, look at that one part, listen again to the examples, and then come back and retake the quiz until you've mastered them all. I hope you found this very useful. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you at the next video.